Howdy folks, Keywii here, and welcome back to Suzerain, a safe space in which to be awesome. We are, of course, just feeling very good about the H3 finally being open. Look at that solid, beautiful red line. It's so magnificent. It's so fantastic. I'm looking for the electric rail that I was promised on the map key. It's got to exist somewhere. Would I have been the first one to have it if I chose that option? God damn. Apparently, if you ever play this game, do the high-speed rail, the electric rail. Try the electric rail one. I want to see how that goes. I want to see someone with the red lines. I want to see with the red lines. The lines. Excuse me. Because there ain't none on the map. Anyway, let's jump right in. And read the report from Whole Sword. A group of students at Whole Sword State University, calling themselves the New Youth, started protesting the police involvement in the protests. They're protesting the involvement in the protests. The protests turned violent, and an assailant threw a Molotov cocktail on a squad car, letting it on fire. 14 have been arrested, as well as the ringleader. They have been questioned to find out if they have membership in any terrorist organizations. Life sure is complicated nowadays. Alright, the Grand National Assembly discuss and pass a new law increasing the yearly salaries of elected officials, including that of the President of Sordland. Hey, that's why I have one more personal wealth than I used to, I guess. Discussion of the changes to the law. Lucian and I sat in my office, waiting for Peter. I was at my desk and he was on the sofa, legs crossed. Sir, I have some good news for you. Mr. Hall and I have been working on several possible plans to boost the economy, as is our focus. He is currently compiling a very detailed report with suggested projects. I'll make sure that you have a chance to see it soon. He looked at his watch again. Looks like Mr. Vice President is late yet another time. He lowered his voice. I'm slightly concerned about Peter. He seems to have his mind occupied. He's been late to almost every meeting we've had recently. I noticed it too. I need to talk to him in private sometime. I know Peter well, this is nothing to be concerned about. I don't know what's wrong, but I also do not appreciate him being late all the time. I'm going to talk to him in private sometime. Suddenly there's a knock at the door. There's Peter. He isn't even that late. Calm down. He walked inside with files in both hands. I thought it was flies. Gentlemen. Welcome, Peter. Have a seat. Finally, let's begin the meeting. Why are you so late? Welcome, Peter. Have a seat. Thank you. He placed the files on the table, took out several documents, and organized them in front of me. Here is everything, just as you asked. Our plans for our next reforms. You can use your presidential decrees to enact reforms now. We have enough political capital. I also brought a list of suggested reforms from our party. What are your thoughts, Anton? I have a few ideas myself. Let's go over the documents. Whoa, okay, calm down. You can select up to 3 laws to enact. You do not have stronger decree powers. Interesting way to word that, I guess. Fair trade and competition and commission, gender equality and education, we want that. Amnesty in all Saul-era political prisoners. Rural education institutes. Allow private prisons. Swedish Radio and Television Supreme Council. Lower retirement age. Free prescription medication. Desalinization. The influence of President Saul is in every facet of society, with his portraits, statues, and name dotting every possible spot. Administration can begin a desalinization process with the decree to remove the cult of personality that has been established around the second president. Trade and commerce in Sordland has a few regulatory measures resulting in unfair competition at times. A new Fair Trade Commission can be established via decree to push for fair market competition by protecting local industries through new regulations. Gender equality and education. Sordland's education system has different classes and curriculum for genders. Though a new decree, we can provide gender equality in the education system by reverting the heterogeneous studies that were imposed by a traditional education doctrine in the mid-30s. Yeah, 20 years ago? Fucking stupid. Let's see here. Amnesty for all Sol-era political protesters. Political prosecutions of the post-Civil War era left thousands of prisoners waiting for their life sentences in prison, like Anton Rayne. Presidential pardon decree for all political prisoners would see arbitrarily persecuted activists and thought leaders regain their freedom. Rural education institutions. Oh, we can't do that one. It's a -1 government budget. Sordland lacks technical and theoretical institutes for rural regions, causing people to migrate to cities for opportunities. A new directive would see the constitution of hundreds of education institutes that would teach the rural population in technical and theoretical skills. Allow private prisons, that'd be +1 budget, -2 budget, -2 budget. Okay, so we might do this one just for the budget, you know? All prisons in Sordland are run and funded by the Ministry of the Interior. A decree would be passed to allow private companies to construct and operate prisons for profit while still adhering to the rules and guidelines of the Interior. That would be very good. Freedom of speech is protected in Sordland, but with the rise of new media, private organizations gained a massive influence on society. With the new decree, we could create a government agency, the SRSC, that could protect the independence of the media or control it. Or retirement age. The retirement age of Sordland had been increased to 65 in mid-1940s due to the economic stagnation. The older voting blocs are requesting a decrease. Our administration can pass a decree that would lower the retirement age to 60. Prescription medication in Sordland is partially paid by the Ministry of Health according to the importance of the medication. The price has even gone up due to our privatization. A new decree would allow all citizens to get their medication completely for free. Alright, so here's the situation. I like this. This one is just a classic. Alright, but before that, let me take a look at my notes. Fix education, fix economy. So, presidential powers. And I think this one is good, but this one gives us budget. And if the people are requesting it, then who are we to say otherwise? Are you sure about you are about to use your powers to change the laws in Sordland? Are you sure about your decisions? Yeah, fuck it, why not? What could go wrong? Alright, before that, well, I can't look at the news before that. Oh, yes I can. Circling over Stallport. Patricio Alvarez, the Prime Minister of Lesbia, on a scheduled... his name is Patricio? Visit to the Republic of Magnolia to meet Prime Minister Van Houten, had failed to get off the plane when it landed on the Stallport International Airport. It is believed that he has been too drunk to get off the plane. The assembled dignitaries waited at the airplane at the scheduled hour, but Alvarez's plane did not land. Airport officials reported that it was circling over Stallport. After circling for 2 hours, the plane landed, but Alvarez did not come out. Lesbian officials informed Van Houten that Alvarez was unwell and that the foreign minister would join the meeting instead. Hey, at least I'm not doing that, Mr. fucking fuckity-fuck. Anyway, after following a brief discussion, I took notes about my decisions. Desalinization, huh? You got some balls, Anton. I knew you wouldn't stop at taking one of his portraits down. Sir, this may create a lot of frustration and anger among the conservatives. Let's not forget the fact that we are openly attacking the founder of our party. A very risky move right before the elections. Real change doesn't come easily, Lucian. You know that. The Soulless are not Sordland. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that one. Of course, sir. I was not protesting the decision, but merely explaining the situation, that's all. And there's the privatization of the prison system. Now that's going to be controversial. At least it'll lift the burden from the government. He stopped for a moment and looked up, as if he was trying to figure out which words to use. Looks like either Miss Walda or the First Lady had a huge influence on your other decision. Well, you know. It's about time he went after equal rights for the ladies. If only because all those women's marches are starting to get annoying. I'm not gonna go there. That's not why I'm doing it. This will, however, anger a lot of conservatives. Let us not forget the fact that the biggest bulk of our voters aren't socially liberal. This is a risky move right before the elections. Of the country's women, Lucian. Yes, but how many of them are actively involved in these demands for change? It is a mistake to make generalizations because of a vocal minority. But let's move on. Not everything is about votes, Lucian. This is the 20th century, and we still don't guarantee some basic rights for our women. This is unacceptable. I understand your concerns, but this is my decision. Yeah, this is unacceptable. I understand, sir. Well, we both respect your decisions, Anton. But now that everything's settled, I should get to work. We'll catch up soon. Lucian looked at his watch. We actually have 6 more minutes. But very well, let's call it here. Yeah, but we don't need to spend those 6 minutes if we don't need to. But with need to, it's 6 minutes. It's 5 minutes and 54 seconds. We need to stay here the whole time. I've rationed out the entire day. Thank you both. The news! Alright, the whole sword post. Rayne shatters Swordish school tradition. Taking advantage of the full scope of his new presidential powers, Anton Rayne single-handedly sounded the death knell of Sordland's traditional public school system by mandating equality among male and female students. We believe this would result in generations of Swordish women who have no clue how to darn socks or bake their husbands a pie, but who do have their heads filled with useless numbers and figures. Oh, it hurts to read. God damn. Oh, God. I'm just gonna... oh, man. Desalinization could be a gravest mistake of Rayne's presidency. What is President Rayne thinking? Sordland would be nothing without the Colonel Tarquin Sol. The man led our country to unity following years of bloodshed, and now Rayne is rewarding it by instituting a process of desalinization that would see our beloved former leader removed from schools, buildings, and city squares. Even those who dislike Sol's policies would agree that our history is worth remembering. With his unfair decree, Rayne is effectively attempting to censor that history, and he himself will be remembered unkindly for it. Yeah, but that doesn't matter. Fuck it. And hey, we got a budget now. Look at that budget. Private prison is the beginning of the end? What kind of dystopia is President Rayne setting Sordland up for with his new prison gambit? Against the wishes of the Assembly, the court, and, well, pretty much everyone, Rayne declared that private prisons would not now be allowed, leaving the door open for corporations to mistreat and exploit incarcerated swords in order to make a quick rent. This change will also allows the rich to enjoy quality incarceration with amenities, while most of Sordland's citizens will suffer behind bars. Rayne makes decree for gender equality. It took using a near unlimited presidential powers to be able to do it, but Anton Rayne finally made strides toward closing the gender gap in Sordland's notoriously antiquated education system. As of today, girls in the country's public schools must have access to the same classes and opportunities as boys. We still have a long way to go before women in this country are truly equal, but now that we know Rayne can wave his hand and make these kinds of laws happen, why didn't he do it before? We expect it's only a matter of time. We'll deal with the authoritarian implications later. Desalinization. Finally. Can it be? Has President Rayne really dared to begin dismantling the cult of personality around his still idolized predecessor, Colonel Tarquin Sol? Though the so-called father of our country made millions miserable under his regime, his portrait still hangs in schools and government buildings, and statues of him exist in nearly every city in Sordland. That ends now, as Rayne has ordered the process of desalinization that will see the ex-president's likeness scrubbed from public existence. We can't wait until we never have to see that man's face again. I never said that. I still have news reports to read, I just realized. Rayne opens lucrative possibilities with private prisons. By allowing private prisons in Sordland, President Rayne opened up vast potential for entrepreneurs to boost both the Swordish economy and to reform the criminal justice system. The government has long sunk too much of our tax money into public prisons while failing to take full advantage of our country's incarcerated population. Rayne's decree will be a boon for the Swordish corporations looking for profitable investments and a steady supply of low-cost labor. Alright, let's see here. Average women's rights. Women in Sordland suffer from sexism in the workplace. They are always paid less compared to their male counterparts. However, with the recent bill, women can feel safe at home, and they can pursue legal protection in the case of domestic violence. Ooh. Gender equality in education. Under the law, the number of female students are rising at an unprecedented rate due to the gender equality laws, yet discrimination between fellow students is still being reported across the country. That'll be there for a while. Dozens and dozens of years. Private prisons are allowed to be opened by private investors in Sordland, given that the prison passes all essential criteria of security and living standards. Yeah. It can't be better, it can't be worse, it has to be the same standards. Alright, we got 2 exclamation points. Not a fan. Read the report from Lenkirk. Lenkirk commerce all-time high. Hey, look at that! Commercial activity reports coming from the Ministry of Economics display that the small business activity in Lenkirk has increased with new goods entering and exiting ports, with trucks traveling at the same distance as before with faster speeds thanks to the new highway. Lenkirk also reported an increase in visitors and new business opening ever since the opening of the H3. Influx of people is primarily coming from Magnolia and the Nargis region of Sordland, who are buying properties and enjoying the cheaper seaside alternatives to Lockhaven. And it's relatively close to Lockhaven. It's only, like, if this is 4 hours, then this is like 2.5, right? And it's so cheap. Look at that. Trade talks with the Chancellor of Volksland. Alright, well, hang on. Trade talks with the President of Lesbia. This is the one over here. This is a little bit more, Volksland is a little bit more, sort of situation. Don't want to deal with it. So I'm going to talk to Lesbia first. After a long whistle, Maroon train slowly started to move. This train has been in service for many years. It had 9 locomotives with special quarters and an office. As the name implied, it was painted with a bright maroon color. After flashes and cheers, we departed from Holsword Central Train Station. Our destination was Perla, the capital of Lesbia. The historic route we were using was also called the Southern Express. We passed through the Lesbian mountain range to the lowlands with a short stop at the beautiful Saria Nuva, where Lesbian security forces joined us. Looking outside the window, the difference of wealth between Volgan and Saria Nuva was extraordinary. I heard a knock on the door to my office on the train, and Simon entered. Mr. President. Simon, have a seat. Yes, what is it? I wanted to have a quick chat about Prime Minister Alvarez and give you a heads up. There have been some rumors about his demeanor in public appearances. Go on. He's known to have met with other state leaders while intoxicated on various occasions. Some even call him an alcoholic. Is this something that could affect this trade deal? So the man can't handle his drink, is that all? It should be fine, I've dealt with worse than that before. Is this something that could affect this trade deal? Honestly, I don't know. He handed me a newspaper. The headline was Circling Over Stallport. Yeah, I read that one. This happened just yesterday. Apparently he was so drunk that he couldn't get off the plane on a diplomatic visit. After this incident, some say he is unfit to serve, but I don't believe that at all. Why is that? I hope he doesn't show up drunk to our meeting, too. These are lesbians? These are the lesbians people fear? Ridiculous. Yeah, ridiculous. Regardless, I don't think we should underestimate them. They own substantial economic power after all. Also, we need to be careful. I heard that he is a shrewd man. Thanks for giving me a heads up. Trust me, I can handle him. Now I'm worried. Thanks for giving me a heads up. Thanks, Simon. I'm sure we will be fine, Mr. President. We are almost at Perla. I will return to my cabin now. Very well. I'll see you when we arrive. A few minutes later, a long whistle. Our train came to a stop. I waved to the crowd from the window. Lots of reporters that flocked over were pushed away by the lesbian security guards. We made our way to our cars, and the convoy began its short trip to the Yellow House. Funny. So yeah, so we took the train to go through Volgan to there. I like the flag. It's pretty good. I like our flag better, but you know. Flags are good, man. I like flags. Yellow House. Yellow House was situated at the very center of Perla in the middle of a circular park that was off limits to regular citizens. The park was full of roses on small patches. The convoy came to a stop and I made my way to the entrance. The assistants directed me to a room to visit Prime Minister Alvarez. You look fine. You look fine. I wait. I started waiting in the exquisite room with golden chandeliers. I waited for around 10 minutes and there was no sign of Prime Minister Alvarez. It was almost time for our meeting. My chair started to feel uncomfortable. I stood up and walked around to look at the various items in the room. A beautiful golden teapot piqued my interest. Inspect the teapot. I'll inspect it. And started inspecting the teapot. While I was touching it, the handle broke off. Huh. Leave the broken handle next to the teapot. Pocket the handle. No, I'm just going to put it back, man. Leave the broken handle next to the teapot. The door opened and Patricio Alvarez entered. Although I knew he was one of the youngest state leaders in the world right now, I was still surprised by how tall he looked. At his young age, he was leading one of the strongest countries in Eastern Mercopa. He was holding his head like he had a headache and he was stumbling. Upon seeing me, he immediately composed himself. We shook hands. So he's not drunk, he's hungover. He gestured towards the two couches and we sat down face to face. President Rayne, welcome to Perla. Good to have you here. I hear a lot about your successes. I hear a lot about your successes as well, Mr. Alvarez. Thank you. It's good to be here, Mr. Alvarez. I'll butter him up a little. I try, Mr. Rayne. I try. I smelt the strong odor of alcohol. Have you been drinking? I'm not going to say anything. Well, let's begin then. So, you're here for the trade deal. What was it about again? Can you remind me? Shiraz, are you making fun of me right now? No, absolutely not. I've just been very busy lately. You know, being a president makes you pretty busy. He pulled out a few documents from his briefcase and started inspecting them. So, I don't have any issues with this deal. I think this deal will contribute nicely to the relationship between Lesbia and Sordland. I will sign the executive order. I do, however, believe that we can do much more than just trade. By we, I mean ATO. Your Arcasian Treaty Organization. You want me to join Arcasia? I'd like to see Sordland in our sphere. What do you think, Mr. Rayne? Sounds excellent. How do we begin? Why would you do that for Sordland? What's in it for you? Thank you for the offer, but that is not one of our aims for now. Thank you for the offer, but that's not one of our aims. Why would you do that for Sordland? What's in it for you? I don't want to sound accusatory. For now, maybe. But where will you stand when United Contana eventually but surely attacks Eastern Mercopa? That is the real question. He clenched his fist and slammed it on the coffee table. Bang! Or wait, no, there we go. Hang on, gotta readjust my microphone, put it back there, put the thing there, make sure my phone's good. Those damn communists! We need to stop them before it's too late. Volksland, those barbarians, are preparing to invade Helgeland on false accusations. If Ignolia's first, Sordland will be next. I'll be frank, Eastern Mercopa's only way to survival is through ATO. And we need to support one of the largest players in Eastern Mercopa, Sordland. We need the support of. Yeah, we have a lot of land. Beautiful country of Sordland is the key to all this. We need you, Mr. Rayne. We need Sordland. Are you with us? We will defend our continent against the blight of communism. Down with the communists. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to protect Sordland. I think you're exaggerating the threat. I have my doubts about this. I can't decide without knowing what's in it for me. Yeah, I'm not a communist. Certainly not. However, I'm not a capitalist either. I'm an economist. I'm an economist. Economist. I think you're exaggerating the threat. I have my doubts about this. Can't decide without knowing what's in it for me. I see that you possess the mind of a man who understands business. I offer you an alliance. Together we will shield the continent against Millennium's evil. Not to mention that you will have Arcasia's full backing. The most powerful ally you can have in this era. I accept Sordland will be allied to Lesbia. I have to refuse. I will not drag Sordland into an international conflict. There we go. I'm staying neutral in this one. You think you're evading the conflict by trying to stay neutral? Remember my words, when the conflict is at your doorstep, ring it on your doorbell, Mr. Rayne. Don't forget that I gave you a choice. I could just say that I hope Sordland doesn't fall to a bad position because of your decision. He looked at the clock. I'm afraid I have to leave now to attend to other matters. Thank you for your visit. On his way to the door, he suddenly turned around. Oh, before I forget, you owe me a teapot. Yeah. I recognize the voice I was doing for him, or rather what the voice I was doing for him slowly transformed into over time, but I recognize it, but I don't remember what it is. Okay, what's the country overview? Diplomacy. Tungsten trade with Lesbia. Free trade zone with Lesbia. The comprehensive agreement with Lesbia to reduce regulations and barriers which make Lesbia Sordland's leading export trading partner of tungsten. A comprehensive free trade zone is created with Lesbia, tightening economic bonds and improving relations. Trade initiative. Trade initiative is a new foreign policy to establish better economic partnerships in the region. Yeah, we're very neutral on all of the matter. I struck a trade deal with Lesbia. Feeling good about it. Yeah. Sordland and Lesbia now sign new trade agreement. Swordish government has officially signed a new economic partnership deal with Lesbia, marking an important moment as the most major deal President Rayne has finalized so far. The Swordish-Lesbia Economic Partnership Agreement was signed by President Rayne and Prime Minister Alvarez in Perla yesterday. The deal is tailored to benefit both economies, with big benefits to Swordish and Lesbian businesses. It also includes a strong commitment from Lesbia to support Sordland with Lesbian capital. This signing marks a new period of close relations between Sordland and Lesbia, which will see two like-minded democracies work together. But then... I'm going to do this in this episode. Trade talks with the Chancellor of Vogsland. I was in my office preparing my briefcase for the trip ahead to Helm in Vogsland to discuss a trade deal. I heard two knocks and I turned around to see David. David. I like David better. He was panting heavily. Mr. President. David, ready for the trip? Is something wrong? I have just received a communication from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Vogsland about our trade deal. Because of our trade deal with Lesbia, they've decided to cancel the negotiations. Is there any way we can still get them on the table? Unfortunately not. It seems like the trade deal with Vogsland fell. I started unpacking my briefcase. But that's not all, Mr. President. I'm not going to like this, am I? He handed me a document with the emblem of the Ministry of Vogsland on it. Vogsland has put tariffs on our trade in retaliation. They're trying to economically weaken us. It looks like we have made an adversary. Put down the document and slammed the table. Oh, that sucks. I wanted to trade with both of them. Alright, fine. There's a thing going on in Erlery. But we got a news report. Geopolitical. Vogsland cancels meeting. Foreign Ministry of Vogsland has announced the immediate end of the diplomatic talks after Sordland has made a substantial agreement with Lesbia, throwing the potential talks in jeopardy. Chancellor Hegel announced a disappointment in the Sordich government after talks fell through. I didn't even get to talk with you! What are you talking about? What the fuck? Private meeting with Peter. Alright, well, I mean, that can happen next episode. Industrial zone is happening, man. It's gonna happen. We're gonna fix the economy. We're fixing the education, and education is a lot better than it was. Let's be real. We got it in the rural areas. We got it to women. We're removing soul from it. We're fixing the education. However, we haven't fixed the economy yet, and that's our next move. So that'll have to be for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, I'm Keywii. You can great tune yourself for a delightful day. Next episode, we talk to Pater. Until then.